Cool. Hey guys, I am Jim Langeloh with Dove Dental Products, and we are live with Pat Pine, and I like to consider her as my go-to infection control guru in the industry. Met her a few years back at, I believe, OSAP. Is that right?
I think so, or Midwinter Meeting, Chicago's Midwinter Meeting.
Yeah, and Pat actually approached us. She saw some of the things we were doing with Backflow, disposable valves, and she got excited. So ever since then, we've had an ongoing partnership. We've asked her to go out and do some studies. She got some great research out there. I know you originally did the dental bib clip study. You've done valve studies. So you've been on top of this infection control, what we're calling longer than all of us. And so I don't know, just give us a little quick background of yourself, how long you've been doing this, and we'll just carry on from there.
Well, thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me on. I think this is a hot topic and a subject that we all need to be aware of. And I think it's gone to the wayside for a while, but I've been doing infection control and OSHA safety for 25 years. And I got into it when I lived in Chicago area, and I was temping as a hygienist. And the office was not to what I would want to work in or go to visit if I were a patient. And it dawned on me that the doctors are so busy with all the new technology and drilling and filling and staff, information, that I decided to go back to school and get some education on this. And then I went and got trained for the OSHA from the federal OSHA, which was very interesting in itself. And I did that 25 years ago. And then you have to keep up with it, which I do. And then I'm a member of OSAP, but I've also done a lot of research, as you mentioned. And for some reason, I'm in this infection control rabbit hole, safety first in my head.
Yep.
And, I just feel that these doctors need help, and they can't always go to the team, because the other side of the coin there is people don't want other people telling them what to do, and they work with them.
Yeah.
So that's where I come in. I come in and do OSHA training boot camp with no sweat.
Well, you've been a bigger cheerleader than, because we talk to a lot of them in the industry, but I would say you're right at the top. That's why we continually go back and forth with you, because the knowledge you bring, you're more of a germaphobe than I am. So that's good.
Actually, I think our son is, I've discovered lately. I'm like, ooh, that rubs off.
Yes. It's I don't know, it gives me the heebie-jeebies, especially every time I go into an office. And I just, I used to be an equipment sales guy, so I know a little bit about the chair. I know once the evacuation lines are on, I know what's in there.
Yeah.
I know the water lines from my Kago days. I used to purge lines and get the long biofilm snake purged out of the water lines.
So that's gross.
It's gross. We've seen them, and it really started with the electric can pieces when they first came out, because you would have to retro them on top of using existing stuff. So I've seen the water lines, I've seen the evacuation lines, and now we've got aerosol issues that we're seeing right now. So it's kind of nonstop. A couple of things I wanted to touch on today with you. Have you talked about your current programs that you're offering? So
well, I'm doing a virtual OSHA training boot camp. I'm doing a COVID training. I've had several offices just say, I need this, and I said, okay, let's do it. And then I'm doing OSHA training boot camp, which is a little longer, but it's great to get everybody on the same page before we go back to work. And we discuss COVID at the same time, and the protocol, and what we actually have to do in order to stay safe ourselves. All that saliva and bacteria in the mouth is contaminated. It does have COVID. My thought process in the beginning, okay, go ahead and do a pre-rinse, but why not use a laser and laser light the mouth? And we do it for herpes on the lip. Why can't we do it for this? But again, there's no studies, but I'm sorry, I kind of think that that'd be safer than not. So those that have diode lasers, dust them off, get them working, and maybe do our own study. Let's see what, take a swab after you do it and see what's on it.
Yeah, so you go into a lot more offices than I do, because I cover all over the place. We go through distribution, and then, but when you go in there, what's the biggest, I don't know, red flags you run into when you see day to day? What just sets your radar off?
It never set my radar off until I did that study on the vacuum system, on the valves, the you know, the on and off switches. After I did that, the red flags start going up when I'm in specific offices. And I never realized that, people are wiping them off. They're not wiping it twice, first to clean, then to disinfect. And then I went and swabbed them, and they were dirty. And so if you remember, some of the insides were cleaner than the outsides. And I was just freaking out, thinking I should have had a hazmat suit on when I did that study.
So the study she's referring to, I think in 2017 we did it, 2018, somewhere around there, and I'll post it on a link here. But the study was, we had interest because we make disposable evacuation valves, but we had an interest just on the exterior surfaces of an evacuation valve. They've never really been tested. So, the current protocol in every office is someone takes a wipe and patient leaves, they wipe the exterior surface of the valve. And we just had a sneaky suspicion that these things weren't going to be clean, even though they're wiping them. We knew they weren't going to be clean on the inside because when you flush it maybe once a day or once a week, obviously all of the patients in between, it's not going to be clean. So that was obvious, but it was the exterior surface. That was the big red flag. And what pointed us in this direction was your original dental bib clip study, because they were managed the same way originally. They were wiped between patients, and then obviously eventually people stepped them on. But that's what put it on our radar, is if those weren't going to be clean, and they were nowhere near all this junk like these. It was very eye-opening. I think out of 200 some valve studies, 199 failed. It was unbelievable. I was shocked, and I did every one the correct way. I did videotape a couple that I did, and I'm glad I wore gloves, of course, and PPE. But I was surprised. I really was. Yeah, they're nasty. And then the same thing was for the SE. You did both. So you did the slide ejector and you did little guys. And most people don't realize these little guys have even more parts. You go inside here, there's filter traps, there's rubber cups, there's little turrets. I mean, it's just it's a petri dish waiting for all of the products out there, or all of the little nooks and crannies to hide. So
many offices don't realize you're supposed to take those apart and clean them after each patient. There's no time to do that, and you need to be an engineer to put it back together again. And who has time to do that? So the disposable ones, I thought was a great idea.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. Today I was reading an article, and I think it was in West Haven, and they talked about not having enough time to clean. So they're in a dilemma. Number one, they said it's going to cost too much to clean between patients. Number two, they don't have enough time to clean. And then number three, well, we already know they're not cleaning it correctly. So even when they do clean it, there's shortcuts to be taken. And then obviously you have the doctor in the background saying, get someone else in the chair, even though we'll be cautious in the beginning. But I think your fear and mine is, in 6 months, does everyone go back to normal and start taking shortcuts again? So I'm not sure.
Well, and that's why it's so important for annual training, which the federal government has stipulated we need in dentistry in the office, not at a CE course. Infection control, they say you can go to a CE course, but OSHA in office, where you work with that team and everybody on the team. And I have to say, I think we do a pretty good job of having some fun with OSHA and infection control. I don't like to be the talking head. So I have a lot of hands-on that I do with them. We have some challenges going on, and I think I know they like it because they have me come back. And those that don't like it, don't have me come back, and you got to try it, because people have to learn. They have to see it, feel it, hear it, touch it, and do it. And if you don't have them do that, you're not training, because they don't remember it, because they go back to what they did before the class.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I can attest for you, because each time you and I have talked, you've gotten, today's not the only day, you've gotten texts from people that have attended your class obviously today the girl was concerned about her job career.
Yeah.
But I've heard you say that in the past. It's not just today. I remember we had a conversation a few months back, and you said there's, one of the ladies who was concerned about the office taking shortcuts. And
Yeah.
it's good that they lean on you, because there's not a ton in our industry that you can turn to for expertise, which it's right where you
Well,
fall.
no, they don't know where to go, and they don't want to really get the doctor in trouble. They want to
Yep.
just know what's right and then go from there. There is a lot of whistleblowing going on, and there will be, because, and that's sad to me, because doctors, you have a good team. Don't give them up. Let's communicate. Let's get what bothering us out in the open. If you were communicating with your staff this whole time, and they knew what you were doing with the PPE, trying to keep them safe and not the almighty dollar safe, you will have a great team. We just have to adjust. I can come in, I can help you. But just to, let somebody go because she asked questions or you're not sure, that's not right. You can't be doing that, because somebody else is going to come along, they'll do the same thing. And hygienists, they want to work. They want to work in a safe environment, and that's what OSHA says. You have to give them a safe environment, and that's law. So for him to even let her go because of some PPE issue, he's going to get it, and he's going to be sorry in the end. And patients will get a hold of that. They won't be back.
So touching on that, obviously cost is an issue with all of these products. That's the big driver now, because I read more articles where people are afraid it's going to cost astronomical pricing, and on an inexpensive way, you're going to have a shield to your team. You're going to probably dispose of gowns a little more often. You're obviously going to take a little bit more time between patients. I don't know if astronomical, as I heard earlier today, is a good way to put it.
Well, I think it depends on how far they're going with it. I've heard some really crazy ideas, and I'm like, well, who told you to do that? Well, no, I'm just kind of thinking that this would be the best. We don't know. There's no literature and research on UV lights. We don't know that a fan in the window exhausting out the window is going to pull every COVID viral particle out the window, and now you're surrounding the building with COVID. Okay. It's a small particle, so it can land anywhere. Is the fan going to be enough? I mean, you do not want a heavy fan that everybody's going to be sucked in the window. Plus, there's other bacteria. If every dental hygienist in this meantime, in this short period of time that they're telling us this is not going to be a lifer, had a dental assistant, or we rotated team members, a hygienist assisting a hygienist, and then the next patient vice versa or something.
Yep, that's great.
Alternate. There are things we can do. Have hygienists only in on one day, have the doctor in only in the morning and maybe another afternoon. But insurance claims, there is a code from ADA stating that D1999 is a code that can be used for PPE. So define astronomical and define what's needed.
Yeah.
People are
maximum minimum set on that yet, or is it just kind of a new thing that they just launched?
Well, ADA had this out about a month ago. It's on their toolkit.
Yep.
And I've gotten ADA, CDC. I mean, my brain is just fumbling around it with who's doing what when. In my opinion, they should have been more organized. But as everybody knows, we didn't know this was going to happen.
Yep.
It's like any pandemic, earthquake, hurricane. We need to be ready. We can't be sitting around. We need rules, and this is what you do. This is what she does. Whether it be dentistry or just in public, we need to know what to do. People don't know whether to give somebody CPR. What are they? They're saying just go ahead and do the compressions. Don't do the mask unless you have a mask with you.
Yeah, interesting. My daughter is a lifeguard, and they talked about that the other night because they reopened the pool on Monday night, and they talked about CPR. They have like a rubber dam or something that they use.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because it's not just touching dentistry, it's touching everything.
Mhm.
I don't know, we'll see where it goes. So if you, looking on your 10,000-foot ladder down at a space, I mean, what are some simple things an office could start right away to implement, you know, whether it's obviously face shield, backflow preventers, a
Well,
different
the law
vacuum.
Yeah, the law is they have to have 2 weeks worth of PPE.
Okay.
And if they don't have that, they shouldn't open. Then when you're interviewing your patient the day before, if they've had any exposure to COVID in the family or anything like that, you pretty much know, and you take their temperature, you pretty much know they're clear. Yeah, we've got that 2 to 14 day window, which is a pretty big window. But even if you tested them on Monday and they were coming in on Tuesday, they couldn't have been exposed. So that test, in my eyes, that's one point in time. That's right then and there.
Yep.
They're not, you know, they were not, they did not carry COVID, but now they went to the grocery store, the gas station, or just back home, and their son or husband was out doing whatever shopping, and he brought it home. So I'm not a firm believer that that testing will work for dentistry. I think it's good for what they're looking for. I think they have to be organized. I think they have to role play. If they have not been trained in over a year, you better get trained, because if something happens, that's the first thing OSHA is going to go after is your books and what you've done in the past. CDC also, and the health department. All three of them will be knocking at that door. That will spread like wildfire. You might as well just not open. And that's the other thing. If you open slowly, you have a better chance of not spreading it if it comes through your office. And then they're saying, what if your employee comes up with it? Now what? And of course, the letters have to go out. So prepare a letter. Maybe it'll never happen to you. But be prepared, be proactive with everything. The first thing you should be doing is talking to your staff. Second thing is sending a letter to your patients. Tell them you're going to, a grand opening. I think everybody should celebrate this with balloons and what have you. It's a grand opening. So I think there's a lot we can be creative and do for these dental offices so that, you know, people are attracted to them and attracted back to them. Just coming in for cleaning right now, I don't think people are
not smart. What about from a patient's point of view? If you're a patient, you walk in, I mean, what are things you'd want to see, or what can the staff show them? You know, because to a patient, they don't know the difference between this visit and 6 months ago.
Yeah, the only thing the patient's going to see are the gowns and the shields, in my opinion, unless they're using the N95. And that's another thing. N95s have to be fit tested. I will be doing fit testing, but if they do not fit test them and they're, for whatever reason, something happens to your employee, you are responsible. Either you didn't fit test them or something, you know, they didn't get the medical health deal going, because you have to have a health history first on your employee. They have to go to a medical doctor. There are simple ways around that, but you need to be doing that and offering it to your staff. You just can't jump into level 3 masks and say, oh, that's all we're going to use. That's not okay. So from a patient's view, I would also want to see new things. I mean, your plastic evacuator tips, to me, would be one eye catcher that they had never seen before. I like them, so yeah, I recommend them, and I'm kind of motivated to be using them. Everybody, you know, everything in dentistry is like piecemeal. They do a little at a time. They're still using bib clips that they shouldn't be using. A pediatric team had lice because the lice was living inside those bib clip, the little tubes. And the patient, so everybody got it. So that's kind of embarrassing. So I think the patients are going to have all eyes on us. I definitely. I did hear on Facebook that there was a girl that the gentleman gave her a really hard time and asked her, "What are you doing differently?"
I heard it already too.
Yeah, you can't Cavitron right now. You cannot polish right now. You can't use a water syringe right now. why go? Why bother? That's like getting half a haircut, and paying full price.
Yeah.
That's not gonna look good in any practice.
Yeah. I've been cutting my own hair the last 3 weeks here, Pat. So
I did too.
there's not much to screw up.
I did too.
Well, what set me off on that original, what is it called? When we first shut down about 2 months ago, someone on LinkedIn, I won't use names, but one of the hygienists said, you need to feel confident coming back in. You know what we're going to do differently? Nothing. We are going to do everything perfectly. And I'm thinking, I haven't been to really any office around that does everything perfectly. I can go in any office and show you every instrument, inside, interior hasn't been scrubbed. That was alarming to me. And that's when you and I first started talking about this. Like, they're in for a rude awakening because things are going to change.
Well, when I do my trainings, my OSHA training boot camp, I go in and do a mock inspection for free.
Yeah.
And that alone opens their eyes. See, it's another set of eyes coming into your office to help you fine tune and bring your office up to higher standards. Anybody can be at the bottom of the barrel, anybody. But you want to be at the top of the barrel? You want to get the most out of your team and out of your patients and have referrals sources.
Yeah,
but a referral source is having training also, because I make sure of it. But these patients, they're as scared as we are.
Yeah, totally. And I see it in my family here. No one's going to go for cleaning probably for the next few months, and they're just waiting.
The orthodontist, to me, is a little scary because they have all those big units. What do you call it? Bays?
Yeah.
They have 6 to 8 to 10 bays. How they have to separate those. They have to separate them with a shower curtain or something. And there's a lot of work to do. And I'm working with some orthodontists right now to help them be compliant and safe. But the thing is they're very willing. And those are the people I like to work with because it's like, oh, this will be a piece of cake. Yeah, money doesn't grow on trees. I get it. And as an employer myself, I know what it's like. I've been in dentistry long enough. I feel bad for them in some ways, but they have to have a positive attitude and communicate.
Yeah, I saw an article that said, because all these meetings, I see on my back here, I've got the meetings that everything's been rescheduled or canceled, obviously. The next one that's on the list is the ADA, which is in Orlando. And I think this will be the first year in a long time where everyone's not running over to see like the new cone beam. They're not running over to see, the new whitening, or it's going to be a completely different feel this year. And it filled up real quick with infection control companies. OSAP meeting was rescheduled, which is, for those who don't know, it's our kind of bylaws. It's our governing little body in dentistry.
Our Bible.
And that meeting got overflow. So they had to turn people away because never have they had such interest in it. So that's kind of exciting as well. So I think we're seeing a huge shift. I just hope it's not a temporary Band-Aid, like it was originally. And then
people get into their ruts, and then the team changes. When a team changes, the whole dynamics change. And then, you don't know what that new person is coming in with, the new employee. But they have to be trained. OSHA states within 10 days of hire, they have to be trained. So I can train them online. So it can be done. I have never been trained in OSHA. Oh, I take that back. Once, back in Illinois with a video. And the video, I think, was from the 70s. I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy is so behind the times. Yeah. And, I did not stick around long. Things were not safe for me. And they wouldn't listen, so bye-bye.
It's like the original If Saliva Were Red video was in black.
That's a great video.
It's great.
We need to do that again. We need to find an office to do that in today's world with all the technology.
Yeah.
Because they had the phone on the wall, which is like from the 70s or 60s. Yeah. But there's so much more that we touch and cross-contaminate. And then when I train, I do have the method of testing their surfaces. I test phones, especially the doctor's phone. And then I also can test water. And then I also have this product that we observe cross-contamination through the whole team. So I try and make it fun so we're all learning, you know, you've got to learn something.
Yeah, that's fabulous. Okay, so completely different subject here, bouncing around. Why on earth are we still talking about backflow? It's been out for 20 some years. There's plenty of good solutions to stop it. CDC gives warning. Don't ever close around straws. There's not an office I go to that they're either surprised that backflow exists or this is the first time they've heard of it and they need me to prove it to them. And I can't comprehend why we're still talking about something that is, it's not rocket science. You know, it's just like when you drink out of a straw, it goes back and forth. And this is with air pressure used over a patient sometimes. And I think if more people knew about it, that were the public or the patients, they would demand.
Well, I don't know why it's not on a CDC checklist, because we have taught our patients to close the mouth. I was a dental assistant. I was a hygienist. We taught our patients to do that. That's the worst habit we ever did, but the patient doesn't know what's going on. I've actually been in an office where the vacuum system got clogged and shut down and it was going back into the patient's mouth.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I was a wreck. I've had some experiences. I just think I'm being tested from above sometimes. But yeah, backflow is important. It's valuable information. All I can say is I think either we need another study on it and it needs to be out there. And these doctors are so involved with the new technology that whomever is in charge of their infection control is not aware. Yeah. Because it's been out there, what, for 20 years now? How long?
If not more, yeah. The original studies, I think a Dr. Chris Miller came out with the original studies like in 1993 or 97. I mean, it's been years, and then they've been duplicated over the years, so everyone knows it's there. The interesting thing is, you know, your HVE and then your saliva ejector they work off the same line. You know, there's a misconception out there that, well, this one's on a different line or a different vac. They connect to the same chairside trap. You know, so I hate to say it, this has backflow too, and no different than a saliva ejector, just has a little bit more power going through it. But
so my question to my teams are, how long have you owned your practice, and how long have those hoses been there? And it's usually 30 to 40 years, and I'm like, really? Well, even a 40-year-old artery is going to start getting smaller. And when you think of the saliva, the blood, the debris, the amalgam, all that's getting in there, no, it's clogging. It's going to fill up the sides and it's going to make it smaller and make your suction motor run harder, and it won't last as long. So there's no studies on how often you should change those hoses. And my idea would be every 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, it's actually sooner than that. So when you call a manufacturer of some of the tubings, they'll tell you every 2 to 3. And the reason is it's the harsh cleaners that are on the exterior surfaces. So when you're wiping it down with like an alcohol-based cleaner, it eats away. You know, think of an O-ring, it loses its pliability, and this is supposed to be flexible. So all of a sudden your tubing that's supposed to have some flex and work with you is stiff. And, you know, you come into some offices, you can hold up here and it's stiff. So to work, you have to bend, and so we see it all the time.
Jim, what about the part that sits on the floor and is in a U shape? That's where I think a lot is sitting, that would really cause an issue because it's sitting on the floor. It's not running straight down into the suction.
Yep, so what happens is when you hang it, obviously it hangs vertical.
Yeah.
The tubing drapes to the floor, and then what happens is because the suction's turned off, all of the sludge drips and it settles down at the bottom, and you'll hear it. So when you turn on your suction, you'll hear that immediately slushing sound, and that is all the junk from here that gets sucked right back again. So there's a misconception with everyone who says when you flush a line, so after a patient leaves and you flush it, they think it's spotty clean. It's not. It's completely lined. It's just like Drano. You know, I sound like a robot sometimes when I talk about this, but there's not an office I go to that I can just open this up and see all the remnants of blood, saliva, spit, because, you know, these are connection parts. Your detergent doesn't get in the nooks and crannies. It's just opening the line. It's making sure it doesn't clog. It's making sure it doesn't harden, but it's not getting in there and scrubbing the sides. It bubbles, but it's not going to make it squeaky clean. So, you know, when it settles, it's all the junk settles. And if you leave for a weekend, or especially now, if you've left for 2 months, that's what all of the Shines, Patterson, Bencos, they're sending out service, how to get these chairs back up. And a lot of it has to do with evacuation, because your evacuation, so much junk can get hardened between here and the back room that you really need to flush it a few times, hot water, warm water, and do it repeated times just to clear them out. But more importantly, if you're still using traditional valves, don't tell your patients to close, especially now. And, you know, when you're cleaning the valves, take them out, disassemble them, run them through a sterilizer to keep them clean. Make sure they perform. You know, there's not an office around we go to where these things don't stick. Cups get lost.
Yeah, then the saliva ejector falls out of it too when it's worn too bad.
Yeah, and that's our new product. The new one, it's connected. So now it doesn't come out, it's stuck. It has the backflow flapper in there. It's got a great straw here, the white one, which is, we've evaluated like 6 straws out there. We really like this one. And it fits right on the same connector, and we're giving away 25 free to any office around. So most people contact us and they want to put an order, and we said, all right, that's great, but we're going to throw in 25 free right away, because during this current pandemic, we're giving out emergency services, 25 of these to any office around.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we've sent out, can't tell you how many so far. It's a few hundred that people have gone to your class. We post it online, and all they have to do is just send us the name and address, and we'll send it out to them. Great little product, and we have some advancements coming, so stay tuned. I don't want to talk about them yet, but there's new advancements.
I can't wait to hear about those.
There's some cool ones.
Tell I'm an infection control nerd.
Yeah, I've become one too. So we're looking at this space, and especially with the current issues that we're seeing in dentistry, we're trying to solve them, and we think we're in a really good space because, you know, we know these are already dirty. We're already making, you know, a full solution in HVE and saliva ejector. So we've got some really cool things that we've been testing. I even went out and bought a fog machine. So.
Did you? But what's in it? See, that's what I'm trying to learn. What's in fog machines?
I don't even know. I just know I had my 2 daughters pressing the on and off, and I had my test devices out in the garage. And I think my neighbors think I'm a little nuts because I had a Corona sitting next to me and the fog machine going. And but these are cool products that we have in the works. We have a good little team on our side. So okay, evacuation valves. We covered obviously what offices should do, and one of the other things I wanted to touch on, which is new for us, which I think fits perfectly right now, is this little Capdol thing. And Capdol is a handheld amalgam separator. And by July 2020, and some states are now pushing it back a little because of this current pandemic. They're allowing them to get an amalgam separator a little later rather than July. But if you're familiar with regular amalgam separators, which you've probably seen there, when the amalgam goes into your valve, it then goes into your line and then your chairside trap. There are studies, there's quite a few right now, that show 68 to 78% of the amalgam sits in that chairside trap. It never makes its way back to the amalgam separator. So you talk to any of your colleagues and they'll say, yeah, well, that's where it all sits. And then finally it drizzles down to the separator. And this little guy collects 95.4% immediately.
So Jim, would you use that just to remove the amalgam and then replace it with the other suction tip?
That's correct. So you would just change it right out when you're not removing amalgam. So it's a little more intelligent. You know, we know amalgam removals is drastically reducing. You know, you talk to someone who's doing 20 a month this year, they're doing 17 next year, and it just keeps going down. Most people aren't placing So that's helping with the reduction. But the EPA set a rule out there that says you have to collect, starting in July, every dentist in the country and some specialists, and then you have to be able to recycle it. So this little guy gets taken, comes with a waste bucket that looks like this, comes with it. It gets recycled then. And
well, it makes it easy.
It does, and we're not using it unnecessarily. So that's the biggest complaint with other systems is they fill up with all of the sludge, which is the blood, the saliva, the prophy, and then someone has to clean it. And by the time they get around to cleaning it, it's 6 months in. They have to wear a hazmat suit. And you've read the OSHA rules. I mean, they got to wear a respirator. It's not just your N95. They got to wear a respirator to go back there. Utility gloves, mask, and goggles. This just makes it really easy. It's done at chairside. So we're looking at safer systems. That's really our goal here at Gov is safer systems, more efficient systems, and then obviously we have both doctor and patient in mind with each system that we make. So that's our goal as a company. So I don't know, anything else to touch on here?
Well, I don't know that we touched on aerosols, and that's a biggie right now because that's everybody's in fear. I don't blame them. I think if they wore their N95 and their shield, they should be good. On my website, info at OSHAtrainingbootcamp.com, I have a video that I did because somebody was on LinkedIn saying, I'm out of masks, what do I do? And I said, wear a shield, wear the mask longer. I said, I'm telling you, this is not a CDC approved comment, but if I were there and I was working hygiene, that's what I would do. I would have put a shield on right away. We should be wearing these shields all this time. We don't. We have been lax. And pre-rinse, I have always done pre-rinse. Blood pressure, pre-rinse. I've always done everything they taught me in school. And the reason is because I paid for my own school and thought, they're teaching me this. There's a reason. And I'm going to learn and keep up with it. But I know, and blood pressure isn't taken like it used to be. Now it would be harder to take unless you had an automatic one. They're taking oximeter readings on your oxygen levels with your temperature. But the aerosols is what we're all fearful of because we can't see them. It's invisible. It's an invisible war. And we need the ammunition. And the ammunition at this point in time is PPE. And whatever we can do with the HEPA filters. I'm a little scared about the fans because you never know who's putting them in the window and if it's correct. And there's the other thing, who's going to clean them? These big vacuum systems that people are using for aerosols, who is going to clean it and how easy is that going to be to clean? I don't want to clean it at the end of the day. That's going to have everybody's COVID in it and all their yuck. So I don't want to be the one to do it. So there must be some type of filter or some easy out to do that. I don't know.
It'll be interesting with the innovation that comes out because I've seen some scrambling. I've gotten a lot of text messages from my friends that are dentists. What are you recommending? Have you seen this hokey device? Space is a big problem in dental laboratories. And when you have to wheel this R2D2 robot in there just to get a suction out there, you think of New York, you can't do that in these high rises. It's impossible. You can barely fit doctor, assistant, and patient in half these rooms. So it's going to be real interesting how this all shakes out.
I'm thrilled that people are going to be washing their hands. I really am. I told my husband, I said, for 25 years, I've been teaching hand washing, and now a virus comes and takes over for me. I'm like, that's nice. But we will go over it because there are, shortcuts people would like to take. We can't do that in medicine or in dental health care. And, we've got all these other MERS, MRSA, C. diff. We have all these out there. And so far, so good. But when they come to the dental office, we never know what was being brought in. I almost would like something that would tell me what it is. So I was speaking in a study group, and I took a swab of somebody's hands after they ate, and they didn't wash before they ate. And then I took a swab of somebody who did hand sanitizer and somebody who did hand washing. Hand washing was the best. Hand sanitizer was not so good because I've learned that it just moves things around.
Yeah.
And then the big one, oh my gosh, there was so much bacteria on this Petri dish. I have Petri dishes now. I'm
Nice.
like, I'm turning into microbiology. I loved microbiology. But I'm like, now I want to know what is on this. Because I kept them around and took pictures. And they started smelling my office up. I'm like, oh my gosh, we got to get rid of them. But I want to know what the bacteria was. I mean, really, if I knew of a college kid here in Arizona that would, hook up with me and take this stuff to the lab, just tell me what it was. I'd love to know.
Nice. Well, I think you would agree. I mean, if the dental office just followed all of the protocols that are already set in place,
right?
We have a lot already in this industry. The problem is they don't follow them, or they take shortcuts, or
they don't like change. They think it will never happen to me. And that's going to be a rude awakening with the first office that has a COVID in it, which will come. Yeah. So as careful as they will be, if they've not role played and they know, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, we're going to have problems.
Yeah.
So, and then they're going to go back to how they were trained. They're going to go back to what was done before this, because you've had 2 months to get training, or 3, and you've done nothing. You've done nothing for your team, and you've done nothing for your practice. So if you bottom, belly up, you really got to think of doing the training.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that is one thing I will say our industry did step up on there. You go to the LinkedIns, you go to Facebook, the amount of training being offered by the Shine, Patterson, Bencos of the world every single day for people not to take advantage of it. Mm-hmm. It's not for lack of them offering it, because every day I turn on my computer, I see courses being offered that I've never seen before in my life.
Well, I did two webinars, and they're on my website. Yeah. And I'll be doing another one May 22nd on a Friday.
Is that one sold out?
I do not know. I haven't even advertised it. My girlfriend, Beyond Oral Health, Beyond.
Well, one of them, you have a full class, I believe, that we're going to support. But yeah, where can people learn more about your programs? What's the website?
Well, their website is Beyond Oral Health. Okay. And I don't have any advertising on my website, because every time I do a sneeze, I have to pay for it, and I'm just a little person. So I used to run my own websites, which I love doing. Yeah. But then they went to WordPress, and I don't know how to do it, and so I have somebody doing it. And
that's why we're both on a go-to meeting call, because we couldn't figure out FaceTime Live.
I didn't know we had FaceTime Live. My granddaughter calls me all the time on FaceTime.
Yeah, it's like one-on-one, but you can't do 2 people next to each other, or at least I couldn't figure it out. So I didn't have my 15-year-old daughter here to show me how.
Yeah, give her $20, Dad.
Yeah, I need to be trained.
It's like the VCR now. The VCR with our parents, and now all the technology for us. So, yeah,
I love it. I appreciate that. You're fabulous. Let's just stay in contact. Maybe we'll talk, because who would have ever thought, like we started this before, who would have ever thought a year ago we'd be so worried about aerosols? Who would have ever thought, the ADA would have came out with this whole new rule book that everyone has to abide by, and it just keeps changing. And next year, let's hope daily. So I'd love to keep in contact. We'll just touch base, and then we'll keep posting it. And then after this, I'll post all of your information underneath the video, how they can get in touch with you. I know you're a fabulous asset, so I'd bring you in if I was a dentist, but
yeah, that's right.
School.
I'll get you doing something creative.
That's right. That's drawing on a board.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat. Happy belated Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and have a great week.
You too. Be safe and be healthy.
Awesome. See you, Pat.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.